Welcome to the Vicis Interimo 30 Minutes to Kill podcast.
You are listening to the Vicis Interimo show, 30 Minutes to Kill, more or less, a movie review podcast featuring horror, suspense, and psychological thrillers. What was that?
I have no idea.
I really, really hope the MP3 player picked that up.
Let's hope not.
You might find us on Stitchers, iTunes, Podomatic, just about anywhere. Type in VICISINTERIMO. I am your host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
Do you know about our show?
Do I know about it?
Yeah, it generally has 4 segments to it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Okay, what's the first segment?
Well, the first one is Laid to Rest.
Uh-huh. And what do we do in there?
Well, that's where we type any loose ends from the last episode.
Yeah, there you go. We also have a short review of a featured movie.
This movie should be removed.
That's a spoiler alert. You're tipping our hand before we get to it. A short review of a featured movie. We also then have a garbage in, garbage out segment where we talk about TV shows, movies, anything else we may have caught in the last week or so, if we caught anything in the last week or so.
Uh-oh.
And we end with a crawling chaos, a topic or factoid we have never talked about on the show before. Sometimes silly, sometimes serious, most always chaotic. So, on that note, let's just get right to our Laid to Rest. So, last week's episode was Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Well, there was a little bit of discussion about whether or not that was horror. It was thriller. It was an intended thriller, I guess.
Yeah.
It was,
It wasn't really.
It wasn't really. Well,
No.
Okay. So,
I'm not sure what it was.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about Carnival Row.
Yeah.
And how we enjoyed that. And then we talked about swallowtail butterflies, and that was really it. There wasn't a whole lot of exciting going on there. Nothing
new to report in the butterfly.
No, nothing more for Sir Turdington.
He's still in his chrysalis.
Still looks like a stick at this point.
Yep, he's still baking.
Okay. Wondrous thing to see, though. Well, I mean, not right now. Nothing's happening, but the whole process.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Well, let's get right to talking about Germ, or Germ Z, whichever you prefer, or depending on where you look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even care enough to pick a title.
Oh, man. Let's have a little bit of a segue into some music or something. So, I'll just read the one line from the IMDb.
Okay.
The military's attempt to shoot down an orbiting satellite unleashes a space-borne epidemic on a remote small town. That's Germ from 2013.
How original.
Yeah. So,
Do you felt they brought anything new to the table?
I don't know that they did.
Okay, just curious.
There's only 7 stories out there, or maybe even only 3 or 2 or 3 stories out there worth telling, so they're all just remixes of that, right?
Yeah, you gotta put something new in there, though.
You gotta try to mix up a couple of elements that aren't or haven't been seen before, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so this is always an issue of mine, a problem of mine. One of the things that when we review a movie that isn't a Hollywood major studio movie, I always want to say that I absolutely respect somebody else's getting their passion project done, getting their things done, and I applaud that off.
We've seen some
effort.
really great ones too.
We've seen some great ones, and that seems to imply that this is.
You don't need a ton of money.
This is maybe not one of those great ones.
No, it is not. It is not.
Pretty clearly, okay. Well, let's dig into it then. So I gave the ever so brief synopsis of it. And I
don't even know where to start.
I'll start in with, is during a jog sexy time?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Our heroes are the main focus of the story. The people that we're going to be focusing into is introduced to us.
Max and Brooke?
Yes.
I didn't even know what their names were. I had to read their names after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're introduced to them on a rendezvous. I'm trying to get the timing down on this. So we have an opening scene, I guess, of what looks like an outbreak or a zombie attack. Then we cut to, was it 40 hours earlier, or did they cut to the rendezvous in the woods and then flash?
I don't even know. It was such a mess.
Okay.
I was yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it does have has the opening thing, guy running through the woods, I believe. And we shouldn't even try to figure this out because it did not make sense when we watched it. Has the girl jogging in the dark with a headlamp on.
Well, I figured it was early morning, you know.
thought it was early morning. I thought it was night.
It's hard to...
I had no idea because it just seemed ridiculous.
It's a back east thing. It's a Midwest thing, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So we have Deputy Brody meets her out there. That's what she calls him anyway.
Yeah.
I guess his name is Max Brody, I guess. Who cares? But yeah, they meet out there and they're obviously a couple, or are they?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. All of a sudden there's 40 hours earlier, two guys in charge of a satellite retrieval. Just two guys, and there was one other guy in the room.
There was other people in the room, or was it in the truck? There was a little bit of discrepancy.
I don't know.
I'm looking at the walls and the setting and thinking... That looks like it's in somebody's living room or it's shot someplace.
So, yeah, totally not believable. And then crazy, weird, very, very unrealistic footage of a satellite out in space and stuff.
Stock footage, I believe, is the term you're looking for. Computer animated.
I didn't even want it. Okay, computer animated. Yeah, okay. I didn't even want to say stock footage because I don't even want to insult like stock footage stuff.
Oh no.
I don't know.
These are always the toughest movies for you, aren't they?
Yeah, I could talk. I could probably talk about this one for 3 hours.
Yeah,
because there was just so many things wrong with it.
It's like an hour longer than the movie, but.
I mean, and so far this podcast is a mess because we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
But we'll just say that in the beginning, between the guy getting attacked in the woods, and then I understand 40 hours earlier, then it shows how we got there. But they inserted this weird nighttime jogging headlamp meeting guy in the woods thing. So they get it on in the woods, and like they wake up in the morning. I guess they spent the night out there. You thought it was morning already?
I thought it was early morning. I picture somebody going out for a jog before they start their day.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. I'm going to start my jog. If I'm in the Midwest, it's still dark out there. They're dark. It's everywhere. Anyhow.
Further north of here?
Sure, exactly. Yeah. So you start out like that and stuff, and now you had your jog, you get your shower, you're ready to start your day.
Here's the problem. Why are we having this discussion?
Because
you know what I mean?
Because it was the beginning of the thing going downhill.
It was so bad. We shouldn't even be...
This was your pick. This was not my pick. I wanted to keep it on Tilda Swinton. I wanted to do the Dead Can't Die or whatever.
Yeah. You know what? The name of this thing, in the video that we have, it's Germ Z. It looked like it said germs. I don't know. I was thinking, well, I'm a germphobe. Maybe this is a good movie for me. Maybe it'll be successful at making me feel uncomfortable, which it did, but in such the wrong,
the wrong kind of uncomfortable reasons. All right, so let's rein it in, or I'm going to pull it back a little bit. So,
and I got to tell you, I did look up some review because I thought, okay, does anybody out there like this movie? I had to go look.
Okay.
So out of like 10-star reviews on a couple different things, I mean, it was barely hitting the 3s. Mm-hmm. I didn't find anyone that really liked it. I have a couple good things to say about it.
Okay, good, because I was.
But for the most part, yeah, somebody picked apart that whole beginning of the movie with the crazy editing. Like they couldn't tell where we were, what the time frame was. It was so sloppy. And so that right from the beginning, that made it through editing, and that's what they printed and gave to the people to watch. That tells me they don't care. Darn it. I'm going to go get the phone. And he was rubbing right here, and all of a sudden I felt wet. So yeah, he drooled on me.
We're coming back, and you're talking about a cat. You're not talking about me, right?
No.
Okay.
No, it was the cat this time.
This time. Okay, well, as long as we cleared that up.
Okay. All right, where were we?
You were talking about how... So, I'm just going to pick it up and say...
I was done with that.
Here's the thing. Too large and ambitious for what they could film. I applaud what they were going for. We both talked about the fact we had things we liked about it.
We didn't say what we liked about it.
We didn't say what we liked about it, but one of the things I liked about it is I appreciate... There were things that I liked. The costumes, the fact that they shot multiple locations. There was a lot of things that they did right.
The costumes.
Well, I mean that they had. They took the effort to at least get some military vehicles.
I was going to say, you better be real clear there.
Okay.
Because, man, there were some wardrobe issues.
So there were continuity errors.
Okay, hold on.
So,
Stop.
Okay.
All right. Here's what we liked about it. I think we agree. What you're talking about is they had access to a great wardrobe. Like you said, military, police. I don't know why that poor girl had one jogging outfit to wear for 3 or 4 days, or whatever the timeline was.
And her poor brother tugging that sledge out there for... Yeah. Anyhow,
oh my gosh, that's a whole
nother... That's back to the time thing, but
gosh. But yeah, so they did have access to some really great materials. And like the military vehicles, police car. I loved the town. I loved the setting, location. All of that was super great. The sets, like the set designers, I think, did a great job. They were the stars.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but then you want to talk about...
They were very sloppy with the continuity, but as you brought up, well, you pointed that out. That really stood out.
And I also really liked that they had so many people in the movie.
Yeah.
I believed that like the whole town was there.
I believe the whole town was there.
Because we've seen some really crummy low-budget films where they only had a couple people in it and like it didn't make sense.
Right.
You could tell it was just a few people working on it, and they would... they had probably trouble getting locations. They only had like 2 or 3 places they could film, and that was it.
Right.
Which we've seen amazing movies where people have used just that too.
Yeah.
You have to be really good at it. But they had such a great opportunity. They had that whole stinking town, woods to film in, the town to film in, buildings to film inside of, access to a ton of extras and actors and military stuff and weapons and, costumes. They had all of that stuff at their disposal. What the heck?
This is where I was going with that it was just a little over ambitious for what they had. If they had tried to shrink the story a little bit, because one of the things that was pointed out also in that review was the fact that they having difficulty managing multiple timelines or multiple story arcs.
Yeah, and whoever, we're not going to name names. I know there was a writer, obviously, and there was an editor, probably more than one editor. But like the writing really had issues for me. The editing was freaking horrible. I want to fire the wardrobe people because
the continuity editors.
Oh my gosh, that poor dad there loading the shotgun and then firing off a round. It kept showing him like shooting, and he was wearing one shirt, and then he would be reloading, and then he was wearing a different shirt, and then he'd start shooting, and he was back in the other shirt. Oh my gosh, that tells me they didn't care.
So when you said that, I pointed out, like, what do you do when you get to the editing room and you find out that you don't have those?
You take notes on what the frickin' people were wearing in the original scene. That's what Polaroid cameras are for. Shoot a photo and stick it somewhere so you remember what people are wearing in what scene. This movie was a mess. I'm so upset. Oh, man.
So, what about the acting?
There was some good acting in there.
There was some good, solid acting in there. One of my notes says acting. Not as easy as it looks.
No, it isn't. I've tried it myself, and I ended up on the cutting room floor because I suck so bad. So no.
So we had a wide range in this. We had some standout performances as well as some less than, and we had.
You know what? They did what they were asked to do. They were just not asked to do great stuff.
Okay.
I don't know.
One of the other things, one of my other notes here, as far as being able to do reshoots and so on, I pointed out the fact, maybe they couldn't get the actor or whatever, and they had to shoot in sequence, and that's why the continuity of the clothes jumped around and stuff. But I also found that some things were better implied, and if you don't have that scene or you can't make that work because you don't have the correct clothes or whatever,
right,
find a way to creatively edit around that. And
they couldn't even get the shirts right, so they're not going to be able to do that. Okay. There's no creative editing.
Well, maybe
here.
This was their first effort. Maybe this was their freshman thing. Maybe they're doing far better work now. Yeah. Germs, do you recommend it?
No.
Do you not? Okay.
No. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what our first clue that this was going to possibly be a poor movie was it came with 13 other ones on the disc.
Yeah.
Having said that, I believe that I saw Dead Time Stories on there, and if we saw Dead Time Stories on there, I'm really
there's
excited.
Always, when you buy those things, a dozen horror movies for $1 or whatever, there's always some hidden gems in there.
Well,
and I don't mean just bad movies that are just funny or cool because they're so bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some of them
genuinely good in it.
Like somebody cared about what they were doing and it came out well.
Okay.
This was just there was too many things in it. The contrast between the opportunity and them not taking advantage of it and like messing it up so bad. Like, that's what makes it just straight up bad.
Okay.
I don't know. The writing, the scenarios, the editing issues. I have here, okay, this is suddenly a comedy. Like the autopsy scene, suddenly it's a comedy. I'm like, wait, was this movie, was it always supposed to be a comedy or is it just now shifting?
I want to say they spent the first 20 minutes of it attempting to set up characters that you would care about,
serious,
and scenarios that you would care about.
And I'm sorry, who is going to care for that horrible couple? They were fine as individuals, but when they were in scenes together, freaking horrible.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, horrible.
Well, we should move on then.
And it ended with them too. Thanks a lot for that. You don't not only screwed up the beginning, but you screwed up the ending also.
All right. Fair enough.
So bad. Oh my gosh, and that shaky camera work in some of those scenes. Man.
For garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
not a whole lot of anything to talk about. It's been a busy week for us. It's been a lot of things going on, but mostly nothing worth really talking about, I don't think. We got a little bit further along with Carnival Row. But between working on this and that and...
I was going to say, you have a new project, and I have new stuff I'm working on.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm playing Skyrim.
Yeah, I was going there. But
wow, that's some big hail there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we've been busy doing other things.
Definitely been busy.
Are you reading anything new?
No, I finally finished. I finished that. Yeah, it's time to get that back, the Dead Zone back to the library. And
what do you think of that? Is that a good recommendation for what kind of book is it exactly?
It is a Stephen King supernatural thing. I'm assuming
is it a
everybody
horror or more of a
supernatural? No, it's he started with the premise,
thriller,
the idea. Sure.
Not sci-fi. Sci-fi kind of?
Sure, you could kind of wrap that up in there too. I assume most everybody knows this by now, but if you are new to it and you're not familiar with the Dead Zone, it's...
you could tell I'm actually not that familiar with it.
A man has an accident, gets into an accident, and wakes up well, not...
In the movie?
In the movie, yes.
Okay.
Wakes up 5 years later with the ability, precognition, or a certain amount of it. And it started with Stephen King having the idea about what about somebody that was to assassinate the president or whatever and stuff, if he was actually the hero through whatever reason. And that was the germ that this story kind of grew around.
Please don't say germ.
Sorry. Germinated. It's the seed that germinated.
Okay. It was the seed.
That was the seed that this story grew out of. At least I remember reading that or hearing that somewhere.
Right.
So while there's a murder mystery that goes on in it, there's much more to it. And it was also a series, too. We need to check that out with Anthony Michael Hall.
I remember you saying that.
In addition to the movie, yeah. I want to say it was USA or...
Would you recommend the movie?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I love the movie, and basically comparing, though we shouldn't, the movie to the book.
Right.
I very much feel like the movie caught the spirit of the book.
Actually, you almost can't say this anymore since it came out.
Right.
It out. Sorry. Before it was a thing, a few years back, I mean, the joke or the serious, I guess it wasn't a total joke because it was kind of true. Most Stephen King books made into movies were fails. Not The Shining, but like mini-series.
He felt it was a fail. He didn't care for it.
He didn't like it.
Anyhow, okay.
Well, and then they redid it, and they had the miniseries, The Shining.
Right.
But arguably, as a whole, people would always generally agree that it doesn't matter what the Stephen King book is, they mess it up, and it just comes out horrible as a movie or whatever.
That's not necessarily true, because we had The Mist. We had...
That one,
Yeah, we had The Mist. We had... Shawshank Redemption, which people don't realize was Stephen King.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what my point was. I'm sorry, because I lost my point. My point was that there are some really good ones out there that people don't realize are Stephen King.
Sure.
Because a lot of people saw the ones on TV. Tommy Knockers was dumb, and Langoliers, oh dear. I don't know. There's been quite a few where people just thought were horrible.
Right.
But there are some really great ones out there, and people don't realize they're Stephen King.
Right. Stand By Me, surprisingly enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And like you said, Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't seen that, you're missing out.
Yeah. Green Mile.
The Green Mile.
Yeah.
It's a great one. So should we add Dead Zone to that too?
I think so.
Is it up to that?
To that level? Maybe not to the level of the ones that I mentioned.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's no Langoliers or Tommy Knockers.
It absolutely isn't, and it, like I said, catches the spirit of the book.
Okay.
Very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd give it a 7 and 8, where I'd give some of the other ones a 9 or a 10.
Okay.
So it's pretty solid.
Christopher Walken.
How could you go wrong with that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bad movie, if Christopher Walken's in it, it's a plus.
Holds with Malkovich too, doesn't it? Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Back to Velvet Buzzsaw. Anyhow. Okay. So do you want a silly or do you want a actual helpful Crawling Chaos?
I don't know.
Do you want both?
Okay.
All right.
We have time for both?
Sure, I think so.
Okay.
We'll make time for both.
I was going to say, since last week's was kind of silly, then we should do a educational one this time. But last time wasn't really silly. We talked about Sir Turlington, right?
Exactly.
That was educational, and it's silly what he looks like when he's a caterpillar, but it was kind of educational. I don't know if anybody learned anything.
Right.
They learned that the giant swallowtail butterfly looks like a piece of bird crap when it's a caterpillar. But
so, actually, what I had to share here was first the silly one.
Okay.
If you want to prank your friends, and I know how you feel about pranks, which is generally negative, but
I don't like them.
In this case, you can prank your friends and make them think that you are a hacker. There's actually a website out there dedicated to to that purpose. So I will share that link in the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it.
How does that work?
So you go into the site, and it's set up so that any keystroke you put in will actually put a predetermined piece of script on the screen.
Okay.
So all those scenes in Mr. Robot, and I'm not saying they use this, but all those scenes in Mr. Robot or any movie when they show the hacker furiously,
and it's just a bunch of code and
it's
stuff.
a bunch of code that's going on screen and stuff, and it looks like they're programming really fast. I was going to say, what's that great movie with Swordfish with John Travolta? And what's that guy that sings and dances? Oh, yeah, and he's Wolverine. Hugh Jackman.
He's such a goober.
At any rate.
Okay, so somehow you get that to your friend, and your friend, is it a fun?
No. You have your friend watch you or whatever. You go to the site and stuff, and then it'll pop up access granted and stuff. So it looks like you hacked into there or whatever.
Okay, so it doesn't look like they're being hacked. I thought
to hack them? No.
Right.
There's sites out there that will do that too. But
I'm sure that's why my mind went that direction.
All right.
So you can impress your friends by making them think that you
know how to suddenly
hacked into
learn how
somewhere.
to hack into.
Okay, that's kind of fun.
Okay, there you go. So there's a couple of sites for that, actually. Maybe I'll include both of these.
Okay.
This other one is another website, too. This is actually useful, though.
Okay.
Have you ever wondered how you could remove or close any website or any place where your information is out there? Like, we just found that my Cafe Press was hacked from years ago, though I haven't used that to do any Miskatonic shirts for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you go in and close a site?
Yeah.
I have a website that will show you and tell you how to do it. Things like
so not just close it, because
close it forever. Close an online account forever. It's an account killer. I mean, it's more than one thing, but they tell you the steps that you need to do to get rid of it.
Because you could go into a website and say you want to close your account and stuff, but they still have all your information.
They keep your information.
So this thing will actually go in and remove your information.
It will help you determine how you want to get rid of popular sites and stuff like that. So you would go on there. You would say, okay, how do I get rid of my Netflix? Because Netflix is actually one that is very difficult to get out of.
It's a good thing because I keep taking them back.
Well, that's true. We keep canceling them.
They're hoping that you'll be like me.
Yeah, and you'll suddenly. Yeah.
Anytime we don't have access to
any kind of
to stuff online, then we have to take Netflix back for a while.
Yeah.
We don't like to pay for stuff.
Exactly.
Well, we don't have money to pay for stuff.
So at any rate,
Okay.
Those links will be in the show notes, and you can, of course, find those on Podomatic. That actually brings us to something that I initially had intended to tease at the beginning of the show, but I won't. Instead, we'll just talk about it here, and I'll be talking about it throughout for a little bit while, which is that this may be the last year that we do Vicis Interimo. We'll see. We've had some changes recently and some things and so on. Things I don't know. We're going to see what happens. So I just want to put that out there as fair warning for everybody. I know we're finally getting some new listeners and so on. Nothing permanent has been committed to at this point. The only thing I've permanently committed to is I got another year on. Another year on Podomatic.
Okay.
So I want to put that out there and stuff. That's give the patrons and stuff that have supported us, which we absolutely appreciate. Those are, of course, at Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Goldafish. I don't want to scare off anybody else that wants to support us or throw $1 or $2 our way for them going forward. But I do want them to have fair warning and stuff that this might be. And I'll keep folks updated, and I don't want to. There's not really much more to it than that.
Yeah, we've only just started talking about it.
Yeah, so...
We've been doing this for over 10 years now.
It's been 10 years.
That's yikes.
Yeah. So, there you go. And on that sad note, we'll say I think we killed it. No, nothing's been decided and stuff, but it's a possibility. If this distresses you in any way, of course, you're welcome to contact us. You can email me at madsaxon@yahoo.com. Look us up on Facebook, VICISINTERIMO. Join our Facebook group or whatever. We've got that going and stuff. And
we have a couple new people on there.
We do, absolutely.
Yeah, so we appreciate that.
We sure do. In the meantime, thanks for listening.